I took the job because it sounded peaceful. A remote house deep in the mountains, no neighbors, no noise, just me and a checklist. The owner was traveling abroad for several months and needed someone to look after the place. Water the plants. Feed the cat. Make sure the pipes didn't freeze. That sort of thing. It seemed perfect. Too perfect. The house was beautiful in a strange, antique way. High ceilings. Old furniture. Paintings that looked like they hadn't moved in 100 years. The closest town was a 40-minute drive down winding, icy roads. There was no cell signal, no internet, and the landline only worked sometimes. The first couple of nights were uneventful, except for the creaking. Not just from the floorboards, this house breathed. I swear the walls expanded and contracted like lungs. But I told myself it was just old wood shifting in the cold. The cat was a black, skinny thing named Mora. She never made a sound, never purred, never meowed, just stared. Her eyes followed me constantly, even when I left the room. On the 5th night, I heard footsteps upstairs. Heavy ones. I hadn't gone up there yet. The owner told me to avoid the 2nd floor entirely, said it was under renovation. But curiosity got the better of me. The stairs groaned under my weight. Dust coated everything. Sheets covered the furniture. There were mirrors everywhere, big, ornate ones, standing like silent sentinels in every room. But they didn't reflect me properly. In every mirror, my face was just slightly wrong. Smiling when I wasn't. Looking back when I turned away. I covered them all. That night, I found muddy footprints in the hallway. They weren't mine. I hadn't gone outside. They led from the front door all the way up the stairs and stopped right in front of the mirror in the upstairs hall. Mora hissed at the door all night. Later, I found a locked room at the end of the hallway. No key. The doorknob was ice cold to the touch. I could hear something inside, soft dragging sounds. Sometimes breathing. Once a knock. Just once. I called the owner the next morning. He didn't answer, but the voicemail was strange. It was just static for about 30 seconds, then a whisper. Don't open the door. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd dream of the house, but wrong. The halls stretched too long. The rooms had no doors. And always I was being watched. From mirrors. From ceilings. From the cracks in the floorboards. Mora disappeared. I found her collar in the fireplace. There was no ash. On the 12th night, the door at the end of the hallway was open. Just slightly. I couldn't help it. I pushed it open. The room was freezing. Inside, the walls were covered in photographs, black and white images of people sitting in the same chair, in the same position. Different faces. Some terrified. Some smiling. In the corner of the room was the chair. And someone was sitting in it. It was me. Same clothes. Same posture. But this version of me didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared ahead. Eyes glossy like glass. I ran. I tried to leave, but the road was gone. Just snow and endless trees in every direction. The GPS showed I was in the middle of a lake. The landline no longer had a dial tone. I went back inside. The house was darker now. The mirrors were uncovered. All of them. My reflection moved on its own. Sometimes it didn't have eyes. Then I started waking up in the chair. Even when I fell asleep on the couch, I'd wake in that cold room, sitting across from myself. Sometimes I don't remember getting up at all, but I find dirt in the hallway, smears on the mirror glass, footsteps on the stairs. One night, I woke up and I wasn't alone in the chair. The other me was gone. Now, when I walk past the mirror, my reflection lingers just a little too long. Sometimes I catch it whispering to itself, smiling when I'm not. I've boarded up the doors and windows, but I know it's still inside. I don't think the house ever wanted a caretaker. It wanted a replacement. And soon, it won't need me anymore. I wasn't looking for a TV. I just wandered into the thrift store to kill time. But in the back corner, behind a stack of dusty VHS tapes and broken radios, I found it. A bulky, wood-framed television set from the 70s. It looked like it hadn't worked in decades. And yet, it was on. The screen was glowing faintly, showing nothing but static. No power cord. No outlet nearby. Just soft white noise crackling in the gloom. I should have walked away. But the moment I touched it, the static cleared. For a split second, I saw a room, dark, cluttered, lit only by the TV's glow. My room. The one I'd just left an hour ago. I bought it. The guy at the counter seemed surprised it was still there. Back home, I plugged it in, not because it needed it, but because it felt right. The static returned, humming like a heartbeat. There were no buttons, no remote, but it flickered like it was trying to tune into something. Then it started showing me things. At first, it was harmless. Familiar places. My bedroom, the local gas station, my parents' living room, all of it live, real time, like the TV was tapping into hidden cameras no one knew existed. Then it showed me people. Strangers at first. Eating, sleeping, crying in bathrooms, sitting alone in dark rooms, staring directly into the screen like they knew I was watching. Then it showed me people I knew. My ex, my boss, my sister, all of them doing things they shouldn't be doing. Things that made me want to look away, but I couldn't. The TV wouldn't let me. Eventually it turned to me. I saw myself, sitting on the couch, watching the TV, in real time. Even when I moved, the image followed instantly. No delay. But in the reflection on the screen, my face wasn't mine. Not completely. That night I unplugged it, threw a blanket over it, tried to sleep. At 3:33 a.m., it turned itself back on. There was no static now, just a hallway, narrow, flickering light at the end. The camera moved slowly like someone walking forward. The walls were stained, the carpet soaked in something dark. I couldn't look away. The camera reached a door. My door. I ran to it. Locked. Bolted. Nothing outside. When I turned back, the TV showed my face again. Except, I was asleep. In bed. And something was standing over me. Tall. Twisted. Watching. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. Every day, the TV showed worse things. Accidents before they happened. People screaming for help as their images froze in place. Fires. Murders. And always someone watching from the shadows. The same figure. One night, I saw myself again. Not on the couch this time. I was in the hallway, covered in blood, holding a remote I didn't own. Then the screen cut to black. A message appeared. "You're next." I tried to destroy it. Took a bat to the screen. It cracked, but didn't break. Instead, it bled. Thick, black liquid leaked from the cracks. It screamed. Not from speakers, from inside. I left the house. Stayed with a friend. But it followed. Not the TV. The signal. Every screen I passed, phones, monitors, even mirrors, started flickering. Showing static. Showing that hallway. Eventually, it showed me standing over my friend's bed. I don't remember what happened next. Only that I woke up in my own bed. Clothes clean. TV silent. But it's never really off. Every time I blink, I see it. That hallway. That door. Getting closer. I think the TV doesn't show the future. I think it creates it. And the ending it wants is me. I never planned on going into that house. We were just driving through the countryside when the storm hit. No signal, no gas stations nearby, and the map said the next town was 20 miles out. So when we saw the old farmhouse on the hill, it felt like luck. It wasn't. The front door was open. Not broken, open like it had been waiting. Inside, everything was covered in dust and silence. Furniture draped in white sheets. Wallpaper curling from the walls like peeling skin. But it was dry and the wind outside was howling. We decided to wait out the storm. In the upstairs bedroom, I found the diary. It was on the bed. No dust. No decay. Like someone had just left it there. Its leather cover was cracked and dark, almost sticky. No name. Just a single word burned into the front. Listen. I wish I hadn't opened it. The entries were dated back over 100 years. They started normal, farm life, weather, crops. Then they turned wrong. The man in the field came back again last night. He never speaks. Just watches. His head isn't right. Too long. Like someone stretched the bones. I nailed the windows shut, but I still hear the tapping. He wants to come inside. He doesn't like the barn. Won't go near it. I don't know why. As I read, the wind outside picked up. The house groaned. My friend called for me from downstairs, but her voice sounded distant. Warped. I kept reading. I tried to burn the book. It screamed. The fire turned blue and spat back at me. He lives through words. Through memory. If you read this, he knows you. I slammed the book shut. The room went cold. When I turned around, there were footprints on the dusty floorboards, leading up to me. But no others leading away. I ran downstairs. My friend was gone. No sign of her. Just the front door swinging wide open in the storm. I followed the footprints outside. They led around the house, into the field. Straight to the old barn. I didn't want to go in. but I heard her voice inside, whispering. The barn was pitch black, but the door creaked open on its own. The whispering stopped. My flashlight flickered, then died. In that moment of darkness, I heard breathing, close. When the light came back, I saw her, or something that looked like her. She was hanging from the rafters by her arms, head tilted unnaturally, eyes wide open and grinning. But her mouth never moved. The whisper came from behind me. "You read it." I ran. Didn't look back. I don't remember how I got back to the car. The storm had stopped. The house was gone. Not abandoned, gone. As if it was never there. But the book was still in my hands. I've tried throwing it away, burning it, burying it. Every time I wake up, it's back on my nightstand, open to a new page. And the entries are still being written. Last night's entry was mine. He's outside my window now. I don't want to look, but I can hear the tapping. I shouldn't have read it. I shouldn't have listened. The next page is blank. I took the job out of desperation. After months of unemployment, I was running out of money, out of options. When I saw the listing for a live-in groundskeeper at Black Hollow Academy, I barely hesitated. I didn't care that it was remote, hidden deep in the woods, or that no one I asked had ever heard of it. The pay was generous, the housing included, and I needed a fresh start. I should have known something was wrong when the driver refused to take me all the way. "This is as far as I go," he said, stopping 2 miles from the gates. I asked why, but he just shook his head and muttered, "You'll see." I walked the rest of the way, suitcase dragging behind me through leaves that crunched far too loudly. The school was massive, Gothic towers, narrow windows, and walls stained dark with age. It looked more like an asylum than a place for children. I was met by the headmistress, a severe woman named Ms. Vale. She never blinked. Not once. She handed me a list of duties. Tend to the grounds, check the fences daily, stay out of the west wing, and never speak to the children after dark. That last part felt like a joke. It wasn't. My room was in the east wing, far from the dormitories. The halls were dim and cold, and the paintings along the walls had eyes that followed me. I tried not to look at them. The first few days were uneventful. I trimmed hedges, cleaned gutters, cleared leaves. I rarely saw the children, and when I did, they were off. Always in perfect rows, always too quiet, and always watching. They never smiled. One morning, I found scratch marks along the inside of the fence. Long, deep grooves in the metal. Not the kind you make with tools. These were from claws. I showed Ms. Vale. She told me not to worry, and handed me a stronger lock. That night, I heard something moving outside. Not footsteps, scuttling. Fast. Too fast. I looked out the window and saw the trees swaying, even though the air was still. Then I saw the shape. Low to the ground. Pale. Limbs too long. It moved like a spider, but it stood like a child. It was gone before I could process it. The next day, I checked the cameras. There was nothing. The tapes were blank from midnight to 3 a.m. Every night, the same thing happened. The sounds. The shape. The missing footage. I started staying up with a flashlight and a knife I found in the tool shed. Then I saw one of the children outside at 2 a.m., just standing in the middle of the field. Barefoot. Eyes glowing faintly in the dark. I shouted, but they didn't move. When I got outside, the child was gone. But there were wet footprints leading back to the building, and claw marks on the walls. I asked Ms. Vale again. She said the children are special and require unique discipline. I asked what she meant. She simply said, "They're not children." I wanted to leave, but there was no signal, no car, and every road leading out was suddenly overgrown, like the forest had swallowed them overnight. That's when the letters started appearing under my door. Handwritten, always in red ink. "Help us. They're coming through the mirrors. Don't trust the headmistress." I began searching the restricted west wing. Most of the doors were chained shut, but one was slightly open. Inside was a room full of beds. Tiny beds. Rusted restraints. A chalkboard covered in strange symbols and children's names, crossed out. In the center of the room was a mirror. Tall. Ornate. The glass rippled like water. I heard a voice behind me, faint and warbled. "Come see us." I ran. Back in my room, I found a new letter. They replaced one of us. Watch their eyes. The next day I looked closely. At lunch, one of the children blinked sideways. Another had no reflection. One smiled and had far too many teeth. That night, they came for me. Whispers in the walls. Crawling under the floorboards. Fingers tapping on the window. I locked the door, but it didn't matter. The mirror began to glow. Something was pushing through it. Wet hands, wide eyes, a grin that split too far. I lit the curtains on fire and ran. The building burned all night. The fire trucks never came. But the next morning, the school stood untouched. No smoke, no ash, just as if nothing had happened. Only my room was different. There was a new name on the door, mine. And now at night, when I walk past the old dormitory, I hear a voice whisper from the other side of the mirror. You belong to us now.